Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers, man.
Hey,
Thanks
happy
for
Hell
having
City
me
Day.
again.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
awesome.
Hey, welcome to the Fireside Tattoo Podcast. My name is Jake. This is Evan Qualls. You might
Hi.
remember him. He's a Fireside veteran now.
Yes, all right. I'll take that.
I think,
yeah, cool.
right? Second.
I'll wear that. Cheers.
Cheers. And are you going to do some shout-outs this time or no?
I got it ready. Yeah, I got the shout-outs ready.
You're like, you've gone down in Fireside history for your shout-outs.
Cool.
I
awesome.
think so. At least to other tattooers. I haven't heard the general public. Now, we did get some comments on that show, people laughing about the shout-out counter for sure.
Cool.
But
hey, I got a lot of homies. They deserve shine.
They do,
so.
man. Absolutely. What's wrong with that? So we're here at Hell City in Phoenix, and thought we'd grab another interview with Evan because you've been traveling like crazy since the last time that we talked. So the last time we talked, you were fairly new even in Tampa, weren't you? Or had you been there a while?
Yeah. When we spoke at Huntsville 2 years ago at the Space City show, I believe Night Owl had just opened.
Right.
Because I've been working for shout-out Billy Toller, shout-out number one.
Yeah.
Billy helped open the shop with Timmy coming up on 2 years in this coming December.
Okay.
I know it's probably confusing, but it's 2 years this December. So, yeah, it was really, really fresh for sure.
And you had come straight. You had apprenticed under Rick Sharp. That's how we met you because we had podcasted with Rick, I think, and he was like, "Hey, you gotta meet Evan." And
shout out Rick.
Shout out Rick. We haven't talked to Rick since. I haven't seen him, but I do follow him. I think I see his work sometimes. And you apprenticed under him in Cookeville, Tennessee.
Yes.
I don't know how I missed that the first time. Maybe because we didn't have headphones, and I guess I knew that you guys were from Tennessee, and so we were just talking. For any of you guys that are like CrossFit or CrossFit fans, Cookeville is getting famous. Not only are they putting out great tattooers, they also put out Rich Froning, like the fittest man on earth, for several years
CrossFit.
in a row. And so what do you think, this is not at all tattoo related, but how many people live in Cookeville? Do you have any idea?
I think the population was like 13,000 maybe 10 years ago or something.
Yeah.
That could be completely inaccurate. Don't quote me on any of that.
Right.
Shout out Cookeville, though. What up, anybody
What
watching?
up, Cookeville?
But, Rich, Cookeville's small enough to where you all go to the same school unless you're in a different county and you know everyone's relatives.
Yeah.
And you've either pissed someone off that was somebody's cousin or done something. So everybody knows everybody down there. Yeah.
Did you ever meet Rich? Was he older or younger than you?
No, I don't know Rich. I believe I had like a class or two with his sister.
Yeah.
We all ran in different circles, and he was like several years older than me. I didn't really even know of Rich until all that stuff started happening.
Yeah.
And then was like, whoa, cool. Somebody else is from Cookeville. Awesome.
Yeah.
Because there's only like a handful of people that were notable that came from Cookeville and did something.
Yeah.
So it was cool to see somebody like come out of the town I was from finally and be like, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah, that's super cool. I've got some friends. The reason that Fireside exists is because of two guys named Mike and Doug that have a fitness podcast called Barbell Shrugged, and it's turned into like this massive. They have hundreds of thousands of followers. They're a giant organization now. But I went to their gym. They just owned a local gym in Memphis, and they wanted to start a podcast, and we just to have breakfast every Friday morning, and they were talking about starting this podcast, and they happened to get in with Rich Froning like in their second episode ever because he's so close to Memphis.
Cool.
And they're like, and he was at that point, he was like Jordan.
Making his way up,
He was already big. And so they went, and that was like their catalyst. Like they took off because they had him
right
they got
off Rich
the bat.
on it. Yeah.
And
me and Olivia go home from time to time to visit my parents, and my mom lives a little past Tech, which is the school where I don't know if Rich went to school there, but he definitely built his CrossFit gym out there. So we passed that all the time, and we went past this farm agriculture building that's way out in the country in the boonies, and they were having a weightlifting match that he was at.
Really?
We pass it, and there's 400 cars there, and we're like, what is going on? This doesn't happen in Cookeville.
Yeah.
But lo and behold, Rick's wife told me that because Rick's wife, Amanda, is super into weightlifting. Shout out Amanda.
Yeah.
She was like, Rich is out there doing a meet.
Oh, okay. Crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, there's your CrossFit fix for the day. Let's talk about tattoos.
Yes. Something I know more about.
Right. So what what made you decide to break away and start traveling nonstop?
Man, I just like traveling, man. I got the bug. My lady's in with it too, and traveling's just cool. I've gotten to see a lot of really cool stuff, man, and originally I wanted to be in a band. that obviously didn't work out. Here I am tattooing and stuff, but like that
similar lifestyle there. Huh?
That kind of mental train of thought, you know, like traveling and stuff is super cool. I definitely want to feel kind of older and settle down a little bit.
Yeah.
But right now I've got the bug and just want to keep going and going and going.
Yeah, yeah. So is it a pretty even mix between guest spots and conventions?
Now, yeah. I think so. I'd have to do a count, and it would differ for sure. But this is our third show that me and my lady have done this month. I think this month it's August. Yeah, third show, and I do one a month, and I can't even count the guest spots I've done the last few. But I've got a lot of homies. A lot of homies coming up on the shout-outs later.
Right.
And I just go see everybody, man. I want to go see all my friends, hang out with them. If there's no tattoos to do, let's go hang out and jump off cliffs into water or something.
Yeah.
Go drink or see something. I might come see you in Memphis.
Absolutely. We have cliffs nearby.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Yeah. So you're probably getting a ton out of just being around. I mean, you go to a friend's shop and you meet all their coworkers or other tattooers or whatever in town. Are you absorbing a lot from other tattooers? Are you getting to sit around and watch a lot and stuff?
Yeah, what was really awesome, recently I was out at Dave Waugh's shop.
Yeah,
y'all sat down and did an interview.
Awesome.
Shout out Dave and his whole crew at Stay Humble. It was awesome going out there. Dave's awesome. Getting to go out to Red Dagger anytime I get to is super awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Andreas is now out in Austin.
Is he in a private space?
Yeah, I think he's doing his own studio with him.
He was with Nick
his
for
apprentice.
a little while.
Yeah, he was with Nick, and then he was over in Kyle near Austin, and now he's doing his own thing. I saw Andreas last week at Tahoe, which was awesome. He's a great friend of mine.
Yeah.
But seeing them work was super awesome. Gogwe was at Tahoe, and I didn't get to meet him, but getting to watch him work across the aisle, and then Nick Baxter's right behind him.
Oh, yeah.
Was like almost too much.
Yeah.
You know, but it was really cool. I've been fortunate to meet a lot of those people. So, yeah, it's super rad.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Do you feel like has it had an effect on your work? I mean, stylistically, you're doing similar stuff a couple of years ago whenever we talked. More of a new school approach, a lot of very bold, like strong color, strong contrast kind of work. Are you moving in any other direction?
Dude, I feel like I'm kind of like a mutt at this point because, like, a lot of tattooing is kind of cliquey. We all know it. But, like, I bridge a lot of gaps because, like at Dave's shop is super traditional, and a lot of traditional guys hang out with themselves. A lot of new school guys hang out with themselves. There's not a lot of people branching into the different groups, and I hang out with realism guys. I have a lot of black and gray family out in California and Texas. I've got a lot of new school family, a lot of traditional family. Realism, I don't know if I already said that, but I'll say it again. So, like, I hang out with everyone. So right now, I probably do a mix of a little bit of that depending on how I feel and how the client feels. But consistently, I definitely want to do something neo-traditional, new school kind of foundation with more like realism, new school shading techniques and stuff. So I'm still trying to figure out where my niche is. If people have found it and I haven't found it, maybe that's what's happening, but I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah. It's funny. I think a lot of times other people recognize it in your work way before you do.
Yeah.
I feel like I've never had any consistency. I tend to I've got squirrel syndrome. I'm all over the place when it comes to drawing and with whatever. I'm like, oh, I like that.
I feel this way today.
But I'll find people, like, I'll put a tattoo out and people are like, oh, wow, it's weird to see something that's not this from you. Like, someone said, I put out a piece not too long ago. They're like, that's the first tattoo I've seen of yours that isn't swirly. I was like, swirly? What does that even mean? Swirly. I didn't know I did swirly tattoos. But, you know, people will, like, throw stuff like that out there, and you're like, oh, there must be something. I've got my fingerprint on something that I don't even understand.
And it's reassuring too when, like I said, I feel like I haven't narrowed down on what's me yet. I can feel it, but I can't say, like, oh, let me repeat that every piece and just do it like that.
Right.
You know, but it's cool if people can look at your work and say, I can tell you did that.
Yeah.
That's super sick.
Yeah.
You know, and especially if they say, I could see you did that and it wasn't bad. I liked it. That's even better.
That's even better.
Yeah, for sure.
Or what about, I guess since you're bouncing around a lot, it's tough for you to take on any, like, ongoing projects, right? Are you having to do a lot of one-shot stuff?
Yep. A lot of times, you know, I have Olivia handle a lot of my managing and stuff like that, like emails and whatnot. And we get emails all the time of people wanting to do half sleeves, and it's totally cool. And I get locked into like doing bigger tattoos, but not being home. It's so hard to like finish stuff. And I try to frequent an area. My home base is kind of in Florida right now at Tampa at Night Owl where Billy is. But I frequent that shop probably the most as a home base, but still travel everywhere else kind of yearly depending on when the convention is and whatnot. So it would just be hard to finish a sleeve. You know, I even had clients when I was settled somewhere that it was hard to finish large scale stuff. And it seems like the more you're on the move, the more people show importance on finishing something. So it's beneficial for me to travel because I can finish more work. I don't know why that's weird, because I see so many people like my buddy Abel at Red Dagger. Shout out Abel.
Abel's good.
Abel's always at home and crushing it. Always busy, always posting new stuff. He was in Tahoe, which was awesome. Got to hang out with him and his lady. But you know, Abel for one is always home and consistent and doing it. You know, and for me, I found more work traveling than staying in the same spot. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Maybe it was the area.
Yeah, maybe so. With all the bouncing around, two-part question. Do you see yourself settling back in anytime soon? And if so, is there any area that's jumped out at you that like, I think that might be my next spot?
Yeah, both of those questions. I want to settle down now, but I don't want to because everybody keeps telling me to keep traveling because, you know, no kids, no pets, no prior things holding you back really, you know, is a good thing to take advantage of the opportunity, which is totally cool. I want to begin opening a shop within a year or two, more of a like private studio that I could continue traveling from. And, you know, I've got a lot of buddies that opened up a private studio, and some of them, when they opened, was originally going to be just a private studio, do your appointments, jam out, and then those guys got interest from maybe one of their local guys that wanted to come work with them. I remember Dave Waugh mentioned that on your podcast, and he said all of a sudden his private studio thing kind of came 2-3 guys kind of thing, you know. So I'm trying to travel for the next 2-3 years, try to get a little spot going on and settle down somewhere. I will never stop traveling, though. I don't think I could. Even if I had a kid, I would bring him with me, him or her. But where? I'm from Tennessee. I love Florida. I absolutely love Texas. And I say those three. Don't hate me if you're not from those areas, but I say those three because those are the most commonly frequented for me. So I'm from Tennessee. My family is there. Florida, I feel like I have a second family there. Texas, I've got so many friends there that you know, I want to keep going to their shops instead of opening my own. So it kind of puts me between a rock and a hard place because I don't want to step on any friends' toes and stuff because, you know, guest spotting so much, you start to go to all of these towns and stuff and building relationships, and you don't want to step on somebody's toes by saying, hey, this area is cool. I'm now going to open up a shop over here, you know. So it's a little weird. I'm traveling mostly just to enjoy life, see things, and try to find that spot where I'm like, this is it. I don't want to leave, you know, wherever your clientele's at, where you can stay steadily booked, where you can find a little bit of life. I like outdoorsy stuff. Like y'all can't see it, but there's this painting of canyons and a river on the side of the wall. That stuff's cool to me. I like swimming in nature and stuff, and tattooing is like an outlet from those things. So if I can find somewhere that I think the town is cool, but more importantly, like nature, the scenery and stuff is cool, I'm down with that. And I'll probably do like somebody's probably said it, but I'll do like a studio in the woods or something like like guys, like when you sat down with Guy and he said, I want it to feel like you made a journey coming out here, like a pilgrimage, I think he said. I want that. I want
and it is. Sure. You go to his space and you're just like, man, you had to have a purpose to be here. You know, it's really off the beaten path.
Man, and watching y'all's interview with him was so cool because, like, watching just how he expressed things and how he explained longer sessions to clients really, like, struck a chord with me for sure.
Yeah, he's very thoughtful. He doesn't just, like, throw stuff out. You can tell he takes his time, and he knows he has a purpose behind everything that he says. He's a very deliberate guy.
Shout out Guy Atchison.
Shout out Guy
I
Atchison.
have not met you, but you are the man.
He is the man. That's what I was going to ask. So you've lived and worked in a small town like Cookeville. You've been to a lot of big cities. Do you think do do you have a preference when you settle back down, or will you be cool with like a big city that's pretty close to something that looks like that?
I'm a mutt, man. Like
Just whatever, huh?
I apologize to use that phrase so much, but it's the best I can call it when you're like
Want it all.
when you're the product of both.
Yeah.
Like I was the country kid from a small city dreaming of bigger lights, and then got to bigger lights, and I enjoyed the peaceful quiet.
Yeah.
Of like small towns and stuff. From a small town, I want to end up in a small town, preferably outside of somewhere that's relatively close, that if you need your big city fix, you kind of can.
Yeah, you have it. I feel the same way. I kind of like that same idea. I haven't been to Gogwe's shop, but I feel like it's off the beaten path, kind of like that, but still. Have you been up?
Oregon, maybe?
Right? It's in Oregon.
Okay,
Grants Pass,
cool.
Oregon.
Yeah.
And
I was totally going to butcher that if I had said
think it's Grants Pass, Oregon. I've never been there, but I hear it's in the middle of nowhere. And then the same thing, I may go up and do a guest spot at the other one in New Hampshire. Is it New Hampshire? Is that where the other one is that Gabe Ripley runs? It's the other off the map.
New Hampshire's super nice, though. We were just up there.
Where did you go up there?
We were in Keene, New Hampshire, at my buddy PJ and Sin's shop. Shout out Dark Mark Tattoo. We were up there because we were going to see Timmy, and the New York convention was up there. And all their states are super tiny.
Yeah.
I think we passed through Vermont for like 7 minutes and was in a different state.
Yeah.
So we jammed over to Keene, New Hampshire, and went there. And it was just beautiful. It's all woods and stuff, and it was really cool, man.
Yeah. So with all the travel, if a lot of younger artists watch this show, if you had to ask someone, or if someone is asking you, if you had any one or two really good tips for traveling consistently, working conventions, trying to make a living while doing it, has this experiment, what have you learned from this experiment so far?
Where do you want me to start?
I don't know.
Really, it's game plan. You got to game plan all your moves, and you got to be really in advance with stuff, because a lot of times, if you're doing conventions, any artist watching this, if you've done a convention, you know that there's paperwork involved, health department, all that stuff, So you have to be on top of that as well. If you can find an assistant to help you out with this work that doesn't mind helping you, that's always a big help, because my lady helps me out with that stuff, make sure that I'm on top of things. And conventions still hit me up. Like recently, another one needed me to go ahead and get paperwork notarized so I can send it in for next year. And it is difficult traveling so much, because I was home like 2 days and got in a car accident beforehand. So I couldn't I didn't have a lot of time to do extra things, rather than get home, do your laundry, say hi to people, and bye, and get on a plane and leave. So it's really difficult. So you got to have your life in order. There's no stability. So if you don't enjoy being around people 24/7, it's probably not the best, because there's very little privacy, for sure. That's one thing I experienced right off the rip, is if you listen to music, you got to find an outlet or something, because you're going to stay at your buddy's house. You're going to wake up, they're going to be up, and then you're going to go to the shop around more people, and then you're going to go out around more people, and then you go back to their house around more people.
Yeah.
So you're barely by yourself ever, which can kind of wear on you a little bit.
Yeah.
Also, eating, all the stuff we don't pay attention to being home, you got to eat, you got to be on time, you got to wake up early sometimes. I've missed a bus before. I luckily haven't missed a flight yet, and
Are you flying much, or is it mostly driving on this
half
trip?
and half? It's half and half, man. Yeah, because that's more advice. That's why I said where you want me to start, because I'll plan it out to where if you're driving, my car's got high mileage, and I'm sure a lot of people watching probably have the same problem. So I made sure that each stop I was going was like 3 to 4, maybe 6 hours away. If it's 8 hours away, I'm probably going to fly that.
Yeah.
But, okay, more tips. When I was in Memphis and I was going to get with you, I left my car in Memphis at the economy parking and flew to Denver, did a guest spot with the guys at Till Death. Shout out. Those guys are awesome. And went to the Tattoo Masquerade show, did that. I was there for like 6 days. Denver was beautiful. Flew back to Memphis, got my car out of economy parking. It was like $50 to leave it there. So you have to do that, but you need to plan these things, because if you're going to fly somewhere, where are you going to leave your car?
Right.
Who's going to watch your dog?
Yeah.
You got to eat. You have to buy all these things in advance, and y'all would laugh watching me walk down the street, because I have my box of equipment, shirts in a luggage case, my backpack on, my poster tube, and a regular luggage case after that with my clothes for 2 weeks and stuff. So I'm like walking down the street with 5 bags and looking like I've got a sword on my back and a backpack and stuff and wore down and stuff. So there's so much to it, man. Reaching out to shops, you just got to be really smart about that. You know, look into what a shop is doing, if you fit in, if not, if maybe you know somebody that works there, if maybe they're cool, or you just want to reach out to somebody. Instagram makes that so you know, you can reach somebody just by shooting them a message, you know, and whatnot. They're going to see it. They might not respond, but they're going to see it.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's no harm in that, and that's helped me doing conventions and meeting people. Like, we met in Huntsville 2 years ago and kept up a relationship.
Yeah,
so
completely by chance. Like
exactly. So, you know, you got to go out of your way to meet people. Meet somebody. If you can create a connection, offer them a guest spot at your shop, and maybe they'll repay the favor, and then be serious about it. Don't say, oh, I'll do that, and then not show up.
Yeah.
Try to go out there, you know. If you try to go out there and make an effort to do that, they're going to see that, you know, and just don't I can't curse, can I?
Oh, yeah.
Don't shit the bed.
Yeah.
You know, definitely don't shit where you stay and stuff, and don't be an asshole. You know, if you're respectful and your work's up to par and you don't piss anybody off, who's going to complain about that?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's super awesome. We're doing more guest spots, I think, than conventions, just because conventions sometimes can be expensive.
Right.
I'm not sponsored, so, you know, I'm paying for everything out of pocket, which can kind of be expensive with your flight, your hotel, convention, health regulations, and then, you know, if you're checking your bag at the airport, gas, food, drinks, all these things come into play, and plus your merchandise, all that stuff, you know, your crew, you know, you have a couple guys here that y'all have to take care of each other, so you really got to work together and know your stuff. If you can do it alone and you're good traveling alone, cool. You know, I went on the road January to March by myself, and my lady was at home, and we had that long distance relationship for 6 weeks, and I took buses from place to place.
Oh,
and
really?
Yeah, lived that Greyhound life and Megabus and stuff, and slept on couches. Luckily, all my homies in Texas are super awesome, and I love you all, and I'm going to shout out all of y'all at the end of this video. But they had awesome guest bedrooms that, like, I got to sleep on a bed, which was awesome, because sometimes the couch is cool, and I love everybody else's pets.
Yeah.
Like, other people's pets, OPP is awesome.
OPP is awesome. You don't have your own, though. You
None
can't
of
travel
mine,
with them.
No, because I can't get a dog and then leave and be like, see you, homie, for like 2 months. I can't do that to an animal.
Yeah.
You know, I do want animals. I do want kids and all that stuff. Right now, I'm just in the perfect position to try to, like, work toward building something that whenever you settle down and stuff, you can have something to build off of. And whatnot. So that's kind of the goal.
And know that you've done those things and have those experiences already in the bank, rather than, like, so many young people especially end up with kids so early, and then they're like, or they tie themselves down really early, or they take on a lot of debt really early, and then it's like they never get the opportunity to do the stuff that you're doing right now.
That's what everybody reminds me. And it's reassuring, because sometimes I definitely don't think negatively about it. I'm always like, yeah, this is cool, because it is cool. Some of it's cool. Some of it's lame when you're away from your people, man. But yeah, everybody consistently reminds me, like, you know, I'll talk to my family members or close friends, and the last thing everyone says is, "Why, man, now's the time to do it." You know, and I'm like, yeah, cool.
Especially coming from Cookeville. I mean, how many people in your family have actually made it out of Cookeville? Like, you're probably like a rock star to them. They're like, holy shit, Evan's living it up, man. He's like in Denver this week.
That'd be so
he's
sick.
in Phoenix next
week. That'd be
week.
awesome. Yeah, I love my family, and, you know, being from Cookeville, my family hasn't gone a lot of everywhere, you know. I've probably seen a lot of the U.S. and more of the world than
like
a majority of my family, for sure. And that's an experience I'm trying to urge them to get into, is go, like, see things, and I'm trying to bring them to conventions, and I urge them when I'm in Nashville, come out, see the shop. Come check it out, see what I'm doing. It's not all bikers and flashing old ladies and, like, doing drugs in the back anymore and stuff like, you know, whatever. So it's cool.
Back to your tattooing for just a second. Do you last time we talked, I remembered asking, like, where you felt like you were, if any place you were struggling, you're like, you were working. I remember you thinking, like, a lot of times you pushed a lot of darks. You're like, I'm afraid sometimes my tattoos get too dark. Have you evolved from that some, do you think? Is that a battle
man,
you
I've
still
been building on that since we last spoke, and I've rewatched that interview and been like, man, how could I have better worded that or given better
I understood
info
what you
on
were
the
saying,
question
yeah.
and stuff. Yeah. And I got a lot of super good feedback on that, what you were saying, because a lot of my friends from Austin or like fellow tattooers would say, that's what I like about your tattoos.
Yeah.
And like I was saying earlier, I still can't figure out exactly, I can't look at a sheet of paper and just say Evan would do this. It's what you're feeling, how your mood, what the person wants, all that stuff. What I'm dealing with now is just being more educated about it, because early on in my career, my question was, and I'm sure a lot of people watching this are asking the same question, where does black go?
Yeah.
And that was my first question. I didn't know, and I didn't understand that stuff. And I especially did not pay attention in art 1 and 2 in high school, and which would have taught me those things, because everybody watching this, pay attention. Value, contrast. Those are the two biggest advices I can give for somebody to pay attention to and to start working on, because I went to the Explore Tattoo Conference recently it was June.
Yeah.
And that was out at the George Washington University in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jake and Studio 13 and everybody that helped put that on, Jess and everybody.
I heard it was a great
awesome.
show. We talked to a couple people that
Oh,
went.
man, I got to hang out with Peter Lagergren for like 5 minutes. It was pretty cool.
Huh.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was just 5 minutes, though.
Yeah.
Whatever. But I think concentrating on value and contrast and like fine art that I didn't think was important back when I was in school or beginning drawing, and now that I'm a little further on, I do see it helping my artwork and stuff, realizing what's your value of this color, what's your value of this color, and if they're on the same plane, black and grayscale, they're muted or they X each other out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that helps tremendously. Like a lot of my pieces that I guess I got it right was pure luck because I was just filling something in off emotion and vibe and like, okay, cool, do this and fill this in, and I'm going for the highlight here. Awesome. And if it worked out, I couldn't understand why. I was just like, cool, chance. It was tight. Awesome, Yeah. But art education, especially Guy Atchison's book, Reinventing the Tattoo, that's like the Bible straight up.
Yeah. Best thing ever written on tattooing.
Yeah.
We do. We have our Fireside Foundations program is just a foundation drawing program for tattooing, and so people will, they start with portfolios, and we kind of break things down into shapes and values, and establish a light source, and that's the first question I'll ask when people send in a piece, like they're drawing. I'm like, where's the light? The light's inconsistent to me. Like, let's make it real simple. Let's just have one light. There's no reason for that to be backlit. You're not good enough to backlight. Let's just have one light.
First tip I ever heard was like stick to one light source, because when I saw realism guys doing this intense light source with this green backlight or something for a special light source,
you want to jump in and do it, but
that's when art becomes algebra,
right?
Stuff, if you really think about it. I guess to some people, if they're just filling something in, it can look cool, but if you're really thinking about it, sometimes it can get difficult. For sure.
And you have to have a hierarchy within those lights. So like, maybe you could have a backlight, but it shouldn't be as intense as this light, you know what I mean? So if it's a backlight, it's a light. So it's a different value. Values. It's a darker value there. But I think a lot of times people tend to make it. They want early on. They're looking at what other tattooers or other artists have done. They're trying to copy that, but they don't understand that all they're dealing with are basic shapes and light and dark. Like, where's the light coming from? What is that shape? If you broke that shape down into the simplest thing, is it a sphere? It's probably a sphere, or maybe it's a cube. But whatever it is, that's like, it's all it is. Don't try to make it more than it is. Just understand that first.
I tell a lot of people that too. Whenever I talk to apprentices, I try to explain it the way I wish somebody would have put it to me, and it's exactly that. I try to tell people, don't fill in something just because you think it looks cool. Because I used to do that, and sometimes it worked. Yeah. But a lot of times I try to break it down to them. I'm like, if you shade it the appropriate shape that it is, that in turn will look cool. Yeah. So eliminate the trying to look cool part. Just do it appropriately, and if you do that, it'll look awesome.
And then it makes sense. Yeah, we talk all the time about people will look at your work, and they don't have to be artists to know when something isn't right. Like if the way that you shaded that shape doesn't really reflect what that shape would look like in real life, it doesn't take an artist to know that it's wrong. It takes anyone with eyeballs to know that it's wrong. They're like, oh, I've seen that shape before, and something's wrong with that one. They may not know that the light is inconsistent, or that the way you shaded it doesn't give that form or whatever. But their eyes know that it's off. And
for some reason, you have a hard time. I use this a lot, like downloading it in your brain, because you'll look at an image and something will just be wrong about it, and you can't pinpoint why, or maybe you can. But I totally agree with you. A lot of times, if you shade something wrong, people will just be kind of turned off by it and not know why.
Yeah.
So
they don't know why. They just know it's wrong. And that's what.
Watching y'all's stuff has helped me a ton.
Oh, awesome,
watching all the stuff you've done with Jeff Ensminger and Nick.
Oh, yeah.
Especially both those guys, and watching all of that, and like you said, I watched the Fireside when y'all were doing your critiques and wanting to bring in people and work on their stuff and whatnot. Listening to your podcast helps.
Yeah, awesome.
Anybody wanting to learn something, watch the videos this man has, and you will learn something if you actually pay attention. Put it on and just start drawing and see what happens.
Man, thanks.
Because it happened to me and all my friends, and now my friends are on it about it, so it's cool.
Man, I appreciate that. Yeah, that's awesome.
I'd cheers you, bro, but my whiskey's done.
Yeah, mine's about done too, so I guess our show's getting close to over. Where are you headed from here?
Man, I'm going back to Tampa. I'm going back to Tampa finally. That wouldn't have been the answer if we met anywhere else, but it's time for Tampa, man. I kind of planned out my entire year back in March. So going back to Tampa for a week, and then I'm heading out to Texas. Anybody out in Texas, I'll be there for 2 weeks.
What parts?
Everywhere. I go to Arlington, which is outside of Dallas at Depiction, and then I go out to I'm just going to rattle off some shops. I go out to Advent, Mike Wood Shop in Houston, Red Dagger with Aaron, Sean, Steve, Mason, all those guys.
Yeah.
I said
I think
Depiction.
Mason is the only one we haven't met. No, Sean Will. I met Sean Will, I think, but we haven't podcasted with him or Mason. But
cool.
I think
those are my dogs, Sean and Mace. What up? But I go out there, and then I go out to my buddies, Flesh Electric in San Antonio. Shout out Butter, Jake, and Kep.
Oh, I like that name, Flesh Electric.
Flesh Electric in San Antonio. Yeah, it's in the historic part. It's super cool, man. And they've got the best tacos. Quote me, the best tacos. And then I go out to Ty Harris's shop in Kyle, Texas, Faces in the Dark, and then make my way up to Pigment in Austin with Jeremy Miller. These are all my friends.
Yeah.
So, like I said, if you can make friends, you can go see your homies. It's that easy.
Yeah.
And luckily, all of them live in Texas. So that's about 6. Mike and Aaron's shop, Advent and Red Dagger, are an hour apart. They're both in Houston, but they're far enough apart to where I can kind of go to both, and there I can maybe get a buddy to give me a ride or something. But from Houston to Dallas and Dallas to Austin, I'm riding a bus for 5 hours, and it's not glamorous or anything.
Are you guys both doing that? Are you making that trip, or are you staying back in Tampa? Back.
She's chilling a lot of the times. Well, she doesn't do that real nomad hitchhiker life where we're waiting on the bus, and if the bus don't come, we're stuck.
Right.
If I've got my car, I take the lady. If we're flying somewhere and going back, I take the lady. But this one's more of you're backpacking and couch surfing, and it's not glamorous, and it gets grungy.
Yeah.
And stuff. But I'm going there. Then I'm going to Europe for a month in October.
No kidding.
Super stoked. It'll be my second time. Shout out to Dats, who puts on the Avion Tattoo Show and the Tahoe Tattoo Show.
I've heard
super
that both
awesome
of those
guy.
are awesome.
Oh, his shows are awesome.
What's his real name?
Dats.
Dats is his name? Oh.
Yep. Sorry, Dats. I don't know how to pronounce your last name, brother.
His Instagram is Dats All Folks, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
and him and his lady, Ashley, I believe, don't hate me if I butcher this, Ashley Rakana. Might be how you pronounce her last name. I know everybody by their Instagram tag.
Gotcha.
So
and where is he based out of? Where does he live?
Oh, Dats is from France.
Okay.
Dats is from France, and Ashley is from the U.S. And I met Dats because I was doing the Motor City show, and Dats shows up with Ashley because Ashley does that show, and Dats is in America a lot.
Yeah.
And I met Dats when he approached me about doing Avion, and then I wanted to do Tahoe as well, which is the sister show he throws, and contacted him through that correspondence, and he was like, yeah, do both. I was like, yes.
Sweet.
So Tahoe's been close to my heart. You asked me where I would settle down at. If Tahoe was the spot, unofficially, unofficially, that would be the spot. But you can't quote me on that right now. Yeah. But he has a shop, Tattoo Passion, in Thonon, France.
Okay.
And he throws Avion Tattoo convention in Avion, which is super awesome town. We went for our first time last year. So I'm going to be going up there. And then who Dats paired me with last year, his name is Andrea Lonzi. Shout out Andrea. He is opening up a shop with a couple guys called a Hive Tattoo Gallery in Milan.
Okay.
So I'm going to be flying to Milan. I'm going to guest spot with him, do the Venice Tattoo Convention, and then go over to Dat's shop, do Dat's shop, and then go over and do Avion, and then I'm going to fly to Australia and lose a day and do Rites of Passage in Sydney. And spend Halloween in Sydney, and then I'm going to come home.
Hell yeah. So how long is that trip total?
That's going to be a month.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's so expensive to go out there.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. You got to stay.
I'm going to be tattooing and staying in the convention hall and not seeing much awesomeness outside of like tattooing and stuff. It's all work.
Yeah, but, and hopefully you can break out a little bit.
Yeah, it'll be cool.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
the year, and then we're planning for next year kind of right now and stuff. My lease on my apartment's up in end of November, so right now the clock's kind of getting down to what we're going to do and whatnot. So we're getting the game plan going and putting that all out there soon.
That's super exciting. That's awesome. You're getting
it's cool. It's been exciting, man. It's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got to hang out with you,
man.
I'm
glad we got to
meet
back up again.
Yeah.
We got a few more days here. I'm sure we'll get to hang
we'll
out,
have more drinks off camera.
Wherever you guys are, it sounds like there's a good chance you're going to run across Evan because he's going to be there. Wherever you are, he will be there. If they want to get tattooed, what's the easiest way? Through Instagram or email?
My Instagram's lit, y'all, and so is my site. So hit me up. I've got www.evanq.com. That's your website if anybody even uses those anymore.
Yeah.
But my Instagram tag is just @EvanQ. You can hit me up on there. There's a link. I also have a YouTube channel, which is just my name, Evan Qualls, which has a ton of videos on it. So
and it's about your travel life, basically.
Yeah. I'm getting more into vlogs and stuff like that. I love to film tattoos, kind of time lapses, and just film the tattoo, show the process, and then show the tattoo. But we've been getting to see France and Tahoe and. Sorry, I totally burped right there, but
cool. I've been doing it the whole time.
We were in Tahoe and I was just swimming the whole time. So we're trying to get into more vlogs, and especially on the Avion vlog, we miss a train, a ferry, and a couple other things. So when we miss those things, I try to film them.
Okay.
For sure, because it's funny for me to watch back and laugh at myself and be
it's a lot easier to laugh in hindsight.
Later,
right?
man.
Yeah.
The first Texas run I did, I got stranded on my way from Red Dagger. I stayed at Compton's house, and a taxi was late, which made me late for the bus, which they didn't care, so I took the taxi to the next bus meet, which was $240 later. Shout out Chris, who suffered through this with me, and we missed that bus because I had an extra bag, the 5 bags I told you I have. They don't want that many bags with one person, so they were like, leave a bag or you can't get on the bus. And I'm like, bro, you're going to strand me here for real.
Yeah.
They left. They pull off 5 mile an hour.
Over one bag?
One bag. Yeah, it was one bag. And it was my luggage. And, I'm not leaving that in Katy Mills Mall in Texas, y'all. What?
Can't do that. Just got to walk.
Nah, man.
Man, it sounds like you're having a blast. I can't wait.
Trying to live it up, man, through the ups and downs. It's been a blessing, man, and meeting everybody. And, like, tattooing is so awesome, man. It's such an awesome community. And I've been fortunate enough to, like, see a lot of it. See shop to shop and all these conventions and how similar they are, how different they are, good and bad and stressful and great in all their different ways, Everything's been awesome, man. It's been a blessing the whole time.
Yeah, awesome, man. Evan Qualls, look him up. He'll be wherever you are. Get tattooed because he has to buy bus tickets.
And plane tickets.
And plane tickets.
Do I have time for shout-outs?
Do them. What are your shout-outs?
Man, I want to give a shout-out to all my homies. I'm starting out with a shout-out to Mason Shimano. I'm talking about shout-out to Billy Toller. I'm talking about shout-out to Mark Driz, Aaron Springs, Sean Will, Abel, Butter, Kep, Jake, Sammy and John out in Depiction, Nick, who else? James Hall, all my homies here, Nathan, Marty, my camera person Olivia over here in the corner that isn't seen yet.
We should have podcasted with Olivia because it sounds like she's probably got some really good stories
Olivia's
about
got some input to say for sure, man. She knows. She's not a tattooer, but she knows what's going down for sure. All my homies who I don't want to leave anybody out. Dats, thanks for always having me a part of it. All the conventions, everything that's been open enough to have me come through. Every shop, Dave Waugh and everybody that's had me recently. My buddies PJ and Sin up in New Hampshire. Timmy B for having me out at Night Owl. All my homies Mike P, Ulysses Blair, Eva Jean, Matt Oba, Katie McGowan, all the Black Cobra crew, everybody out that way. All my California familia, Other, Rafa, Danny. All my homies out in Texas, too many to name. Mike Woods, Butter, everybody. And I've got so many friends, and I'm blessed,
it
man.
Sounds like
it's
man.
awesome.
So
Shout out
people.
to Jake and everybody at Fireside.
Thanks,
Both
man.
these guys behind the cameras, everybody, man, because tattooing's so awesome, and I urge everybody to try to dive right into it full force, man, because there's so much more outside of your home shop that's going on, that's community, that's brotherhood and stuff, and
absolutely,
it's super awesome, man.
Well said. Yeah. I agree.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. Shout out to our homies too, which are you guys. Go to tattooimprovement.com. Keep up with what we are doing. And what else? That's it. We're going to run across Evan again. He'll be on again. I'm sure of it. So
Hey, thanks for having me.
Until
brother.
next time, my friend.
Awesome,
Good
man.
to see you.
It was a
Thank
blast.
you guys. Thanks, Olivia.
Much love.
Bye.